Hey, hopefully you were in class today so you know why I'm bald. Or asked, I don't know. Or it's not a shock at least. We're doing 2C. It's the characteristics of a parabola, which means it's stuff that we did last time, and I'm adding just a couple more things. So I just want to reiterate some things and just bring a handful of new things into you. I've already made a parabola. It has a vertex at -1, -4. But otherwise, it doesn't have any stretches or shrinks. It's just over 1 up 1, over 2 up 4, over 3 up 9. It's normal. From last time, you know that there's a axis of symmetry that goes right down the middle. And I'm going to refer you to last time for that. So this is axis of symmetry is at x equals -1. Right? It's right here. It's the same number. Same number. Nothing changed. And from last time, hopefully, you remember that increasing and decreasing, we go left to right. On my note from last time, the graph was like this. So it was increasing and then decreasing. In this case, it's decreasing. So it's decreasing when x is up to -1, so less than -1. And then it's increasing when x is more than -1. Hopefully that's not new. I'm hoping that's not new. That's from last time, but it's kind of confusing, so I just wanted to go over it again. Now, let me add a new thing to your arsenal, which is when f is positive or negative. Now, remember that f is just y. It just means y. It's the same thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a trick. I'm going to fold my graph in half. If you can't do this because it's glued down or because you're drawing on your paper, just cover up the bottom half like this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight what I can see about the graph. I can see it to here, and I can see it up after that. So I can only see those two sections of the graph. That's when the graph is positive. And I highlighted it. So what I'm going to do is down here is I'm just going to put a little yellow dot that's the same color. And I'm going to tell you that here's how we write it. We say f of x, which is just y, is greater than 0 when, so this just means y is positive, which means above the x-axis, right? It's the same thing. So it's positive or it's above the x-axis in this yellow section, which is all the x's up until -3. Because this is a 0 or an x-intercept, which is -3, 0. And this is 1, 0. Right? So all of the x's to the right of -3, where x is less than -3, and all the x's after 1. So that's one way, that's one important way that we can talk about this function, is I can talk about when it's increasing and decreasing. And I'm actually going to, I'm going to go over that -3 and that 1, because those are the numbers that I'm using, right? -3 and 1. Now, the other option is also true. If I cover this up and I grab a different color, why not? Why not a different color? Hey, by the way, you're going to need so many colors for our notes today. Get ready. If you don't have them, it's okay. Don't go out and buy colors just for math. But math should be colorful like art. Why can't we be like art? This is where y is below the x-axis. So what we write is we write that f of x is less than 0 when, and then I look at the big picture again, and it's when x is between -3 and 1. And I write that like this. -3 is less than x, which is true, right? It's when x is more than -3, is less than 1. I have seen so many times where kids do this with the symbols. They go both ways. They have a little disco. Don't have a disco. We don't need that kind of nonsense here. So it's x is physically between them. And then these go in the right order because it's -3, and then it goes 1, right? Like those are in order. So this is left of -3, right of 1, and this is between -3 and 1. Also, we need to talk about domain and range. Normally in class I would see what you remember about domain and range, but I'm going to tell you it's probably not much because you did it for one chapter once in Algebra 1 and then you forgot it all over again. So remember that domain are all my x values. Okay, so I know that it has a domain. It's how many x's could I plug into the equation? Well, this technically, I could just keep on going. I could just keep on going this way too, right? I could have a graph forever. So my domain is that x is every number. How do I say this? It's x is an element of the real number system. So x, this weird looking e, it's like a C with a line through it. It's not a full E. And then an R with 2 lines. It's not an IR. So that means all x values. All of them work. I can plug in any x. Now my range is all my y values. I can't make every y value. I can't make -100. I can't even make -5 because my lowest y value is this -4 right here. This is my lowest y value. So what that means is that all of my y's are more than that value or equal to it, but never less. So in this case, y has to be more than or equal to -4. That's the minimum y value is possible. Why didn't I use -1? Because there's x's to the left of -1 and there's x's to the right of -1 that go on forever. The reason I used -4 was because it's the lowest, it's the bottom of the graph. There's nothing below it except for blank space and more lines like this one. So that's the domain and range. I'm cheating because I'm looking at my cheat sheet of what I need to tell you about. Increasing, decreasing, domain and range, f of x is positive. Zeros. Zeros are just when x is equal to 0 or when y is equal to 0 because there's a 0 involved in the equation. We know vertex, we know axis of symmetry, and we've done x-intercepts just now, so we're good. And then just in case you're curious, this is my y value of -3, 0. Nope, 0, -3. I don't know where whiteout is. It was in my drawer, I fixed it. So 0, -3 is my y-intercept. I'm probably going to go through and label these a little bit better. But what I want to point out is that sometimes I'll ask you a question that looks kind of like this. Like this. Sketch the parabola with x-intercepts at -5, 0, -1, 0. That's increasing when x is greater than -3. So we're going to do this together because I want to walk through it. So I'm going to draw just a little graph over here. And it says sketch, so I'm not going to put any of the tick marks on the graph. I just want to sketch it. So here's -1 and here's -5. And then at middle, the middle would be where the axis of symmetry is at -3. And so I know that either my parabola is going to go upside down like this or right side up like this. But it's going to go through these 2 points and it's going to have the maximum or the minimum on that line. That's what I know already. That's just with the first part. But it says it's increasing when x is more than -3 or to the right of -3. So it's increasing to the right, so that means it's the one that's right side up. So then my little sketch goes like this. I stop at the bottom, I go back up, and that gets me my increasing. So it increases to the right of -3. That's how I know it's a right side up graph, which means that my vertex is a minimum. I did all of this in the wrong section because it says geometry right here. I'm so mad about that. I can't fix this and do it again. So we're going to let it slide. This is algebra 2. It's not geometry. And I'm so sorry I did that to you. I hope I didn't confuse anybody the whole time. So come back for more math help or come to my office hours or email me if you're still stuck. I got your back, Jack and Sally and whoever else is in my class because I love you all. Okay, bye.